and I certainly don't, but, I think people are turned off by EVs, quote unquote, political reasons.
Yes.
How do we remove that? And is that the result of just more and more adoption? Or, is this kind of the fact of the cultural war, so to speak? And, as I guess non-political actors, there's not much. Open question. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
No, it's a great question, and there's sort of several things to it. One is one of the fascinating shifts that's happening in the automotive industry is the shift to the factories in the South, right? The South is becoming the new Detroit. Right, we have billions and billions and billions of dollars going into Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, on and on and on. And so, these are, blue collar, gray collar, whatever you want to call them, sort of jobs, right? There's sort of a mix of those factory jobs, obviously now how high-tech manufacturing becoming. But, it's going to be hard for a lot of those people that work in a factory who are sort of, potentially anti-EV, who are actually building them for their day job and paying their mortgage because of that, right? And so they're literally going to be probably, hundreds of thousands of jobs emerging around EVs and the supply chain, manufacturing, batteries, everything in those sort of red colored states in the South. And, it's going to be hard for them to continue to be sort of, anti when their paycheck, the food is on their table is coming from those EVs. So I think that's something that's just going to start to permeate a little bit. The second thing is to your earlier point, you come from the solar industry, and there's a lot of research around this, around the neighborhood effect, right? And I saw it in my neighborhood, right? It's like this concept of, behavioral economics where, the first house on the street goes solar, and then everybody goes, oh, that's not as ugly as I thought. And they talk to the neighbor, and it's like, yeah, I saved $1,000 on my utility bill this year, and, et cetera. And then, next thing you know, there's, over the course of a couple of years, there's 5 houses on your street that have solar. And, the same thing is happening with EVs. That's what's happening in California, right? It's like literally when I pull up to a 4-way stoplight near I live, oftentimes every single car is a Tesla. I mean, it happens. And so it just sort of becomes, okay, I guess EVs are okay. I guess they're cool. My neighbor has them, right? And, you go to parts of the country, and I've met people that have never even seen a Tesla. Right. And that's, and so now that we're going to have like the VW ID4 as an example, it's going to be produced in their Alabama factory. We're going to start to see a lot more of it. And I think people are going to they're going to start to get comfortable with it. That neighborhood effect, can really, really be powerful.